This tutorial is meant to show you how to add other objects in Notebook aside from just pen input. First, we see an introduction to an example lesson on World War II. I've added a picture and I've added text, so we'll see how to do that. Here we see a template for a mind map. I've added shapes as well as lines, so we'll see how to do that. Here we see a graphic that I have turned into a button that when I press pops up a video related to my topic. So we'll see how to do that. Well, let's start from scratch. I'm going to go ahead and close this and open up a new notebook file. Over in Smart Notebook 11, should be on your desktop. And we should start with just a blank page to work with. Now, first thing I wanted to do was add that picture. So, went to Google, did an image search of World War II, found something I liked, and I'm just going to copy and paste it. Anytime you want to copy an image, whether you're using a smartboard or not, you can right-click and press Copy Image. To achieve that without a computer, I can hit this button here. The first of the three on the right here enables a right-click. So if I click that, you'll see a little notice up here that says my next screen press will be a right-click. So if I just press on that picture, I'm going to go to Copy Image here. Now it's copied. I can go to Smart, and I can do that same thing again, where I hit this button to make my next tap be a right click, and then I can paste it. Now, I'll get this message about my image being very large, so I'll let it optimize it and see if it's still satisfactory. Yeah, looks like that'll work. I'll shrink it down a little bit. Remember, I can use the pinch to zoom. So, put it about right there. All right, next we're going to add some text. So I go up to here, and what I want to point out first is that this little box of tools here corresponds also to these buttons. Right now I'm in the selector mode, so you see my arrow is highlighted. Once I hit a black pen, it goes to the pens, and it actually gives you more options than just these four colors. I could do any color pen I want, and different line options. That's the opacity option. So there's actually more to the pens than just these four colors. But let me go back to this button here, and that's how I'm going to get text on there. You see the A corresponds to text. So I just tap, once that's highlighted, on where I want to add the text. Now I could pull up this on-screen keyboard and start pecking away, but I've got my laptop here, so I can go ahead and just enter text in this way. So, there's the title. I want to add some more, but I don't want it to be part of the text box because I want the flexibility to move it around. So I just tapped off of there. Notice I'm still in text, and wherever I tap, it's going to write. So I'll do, let's see. And I actually want every word to be its own object. So notice even when I don't see the text box, it will still go where I tapped it. Okay, so let me go back to the selector. Remember, that's the arrow button. And that way I can put this stuff exactly where I want it. I can select that, and I'll decide to make that bigger since that's my title. Also, I want to change the font to something a little more bold. So remember the selecting multiple objects technique of just drawing a box. Notice I had to make sure that I started in white space to draw that box. If I try to draw this box over here, it's going to think that I'm holding on to the image and allow me to drag that up there. So if you find yourself moving something around, just try to pick a space where there's just white space. So again, let me come up here and pick another font. Let's see. How about this here? Okay, so we're getting there. I'm going to adjust where this is. Tap off of everything, and then I can just get one thing at a time. Now, of course, all this could be accomplished on a laptop, on a computer, with a mouse and keyboard, with a trackpad as well. And you may find that's a better option to go when you're planning this stuff for the first time. Okay, so that's about what I'd like. Also just kind of wanted to get rid of all this white space, maybe just turn the background black. So if I right click on the background, remember that's that button here, the first of 3 that enables a right click. If I right click there, hint hint, I can also enable that right click within Notebook by just keeping my finger there. A long tap will also be like a right click, but that's only in Notebook. But let me go to Screen Background Fill. I'm gonna hit black, and then there it is. Now remember I'm on auto hide here, so I can always just tap my lesson, tap the screen to get rid of the side here. So notice I've got one page, but I want to add another one. So we're going to go to this little page add button. There's one there, there's one there. So let me tap that. Next thing I wanted to do was make a mind map. Now remember, there are tons of templates out there. You may already have some templates that you've already been working with, whether digital or just on paper. We can certainly import those on the same way I put that picture in. You could paste a file of a template on there, but you can also build one yourself pretty easily using the shapes tools. So notice right beside the arrow are my shapes. I'll start out with this circle. Wherever I hit in the middle is where the middle of the circle goes, and then I can just adjust the size by moving. So make it something like that. We're going to end up putting my topic right in the middle. Okay. Notice I had to hit the pen, of course, to start writing. Now I'll go back to selector mode. But actually, I'm going to go back to shapes, and let's put some rectangles in there. So I kind of like the rounded cornered rectangle. This works a lot like when you're selecting things. You just start in one corner or another, and it'll just make your shape for you. Okay. Now notice if I go back to the selector mode, I can alter these things. I can make them bigger, smaller. Notice these will let me change the aspect ratio if you try hard enough. Now it's just however I want it to look. Maybe I meant to have 4 in there instead of 3, which I kind of did. So let me maybe make these a little skinnier, and then drag them up. Let's see. You kind of have to hit the line to get it to select. Okay. Now I'm going to add another one. Okay. And maybe a few over here as well. 1, 2, 3. And of course they're looking pretty ratty now, but you can always make adjustments to kind of make them more uniform. Okay.
Oh, wrong room.
All right, so notice I might want to group these two together if that ends up being in the wrong place. So I highlight both of them, go to group, so I can kind of center that up. Now let me go to my lines. Right over here are my lines. The default is just a straight line. I want an arrow tip on my line, so I'm going to hit that one. Of course, there are lots of different options, stuff to mess with. And the arrow tip will just be wherever I finish off on my path to the middle. Maybe something like that. So just an example of some various shapes that we can make as objects. And remember, once I make the shape, I can go back to the selector, and each one of these things is selectable and editable. If I really love this whole thing, I could group it all together if I wanted, but we'll leave it right there for now. Remember, the grouping would be a huge box around everything to highlight it all, and then any of these handles could group together. But I'd probably want to do a little more editing before doing that, so remember, you can always ungroup things that you've grouped. All right, one more thing was that graphic on the third page. I'm going to go here. These are my pages. I've only got 2 so far. Let me add another one. Just comes up as a third blank page. Now I'm going to go into what's called the gallery. That's the tab right below the page viewer. So once I go here, this is where you can find a bunch of different graphics, a bunch of different pictures. That doesn't mean you can't get anything you want to from Google image search or from any other image that you might have. But this just has a library of different things that you might find useful. So I'm going to type a search for a button, because I just want a button that leads me to be able to play a video from an external source. So if I type in button, I see that there are 13 pictures related to that idea of button. So I just took this blue one, you just slide it over. Notice, again, it happened kind of fast, so let me do that again. I searched for button, I found it, I just slide it over. Okay? Now, if I decide that that wasn't the right choice, I can go to that handle in the corner and I hit delete. Okay, so again, just getting one button for you. All right, so put a little direction on there. All right, but of course right now, back in selector mode, it's not going to do anything if I press it because we haven't done anything to make it work. So I'm going to hit that handle. I'm going to add a link. Okay, so I've already downloaded a video. Let me go over to my web browser. I went to Discovery Education and downloaded an appropriate video for what I'd be trying to teach. So once I decided where that was, I will remember that because I'm going to go to a file on this computer. Maybe. Oh, there we go. It's a shortcut to the file. I don't really want to copy the whole video because it was pretty big. So I'm just going to do a shortcut to that file. I'll browse for it, and it's in my downloads. So there it is. Okay. So also I'm going to change it to the object, meaning I just want to tap the whole button and make it work. I don't want to have to look for a corner icon. Okay, so that should work. I'm going to hit OK. And now, let's see, kind of in the flow of the lesson, after I were to jot down all kinds of facts here. One thing of note, notice that looks a little messy. One thing we can do, it's kind of a neat little trick, is recognize that as text. And that one worked out pretty good. So you can do that with any text that you've written down in pen, and then it just turns it to text. So anyway, we'll go back to my button, and then press it, and then the video starts right up. The reason you see that highlighted there, because it still was highlighted from before, it wouldn't be highlighted if I was just running through and doing that. Okay, now that's linking to a file on my computer already. I may want it linked to like a YouTube file. So let's do that. Now, realize usually you just tap stuff to select it. Now if I tap this, it's actually playing my video. So I have to work around that a bit by highlighting it with that box. So let's go to that corner handle. I'm going to go to link. It's already going to be set up as what I had before, but I'm going to change that. I'm going to change it to a web page. There's also a YouTube video that would be appropriate, where I'll go here, right click, copy that, go down to notebook, I'll go ahead and right click again, paste, and there we have the link that we're going to make it go to. And so that should change it. No longer will it go to that video on my computer, but it should open up a page and go to that YouTube site. We hope. All right, well, while that's taking its sweet time, yes, there we go.
I just got humiliated by a teenager. All I care about is nucleus.
Okay, one of the advantages of having the file on your computer as opposed to playing it with YouTube, I suppose. But I know that was a lot of information. Just wanted to get a few things out there. Remember, the great thing about video tutorials are you can pause it at any point, refresh what you just saw by rewinding. Hope this helps, and please, as always, contact me here in the Media Center for any questions.